Guys, for the devils, it's really important that nobody puts their hands or cameras or anything into the enclosure, because these guys do jump quite high. I'll just wait till we've got everyone here before I start. Alright guys, so in this enclosure we do have 5 Tasmanian devils. Now before we go into too much detail, I just want to say again, really important that nobody puts hands, feet, cameras, anything into the enclosures. These guys can jump quite high and they are used to being hand-fed, plus they have very bad eyesight, so we don't want any accidents happening. Now before I say too much, this guy here, Prince, he has got a lump on his head, and a lot of people may have heard about something called the devil facial tumour disease. Just like to start by saying that's not actually the facial tumour. That is the concept of a boy living with 4 females being chased and running headfirst into his burrow, not looking where he is going and dunking his head. So that will go away soon enough. Now, back to the normal talk. Now, devils are actually a very misunderstood animal. They have a terrible reputation, but it is very, very unfair. They're not aggressive by nature. They're actually a very shy animal, and out in the wild they won't come up to people because they're just too scared. These ones, however, these ones are not so shy. These ones have been handled from a very young age, so they're very, very relaxed around us. They're not worried about us, they know we're not going to hurt them. So that actually makes them a bit more dangerous because they think of us as just a really tall 2-legged devil. So they're willing to come up quite close and push us around. So I can see we've got a few more coming up. Excellent. So we always have to be on our guard with these guys because they're so relaxed around us. They're used to being hand-fed and so on. So we do always have to be very, very careful that they don't decide suddenly to try and push us around and become the dominant devil. The reason that's such a danger is because of how strong their jaws are. Their jaws are roughly 4 times stronger than a pit bull dog. So it's pretty impressive, very, very powerful. In fact, sorry, wait for the peacock. Yeah, I think the peacock's finished. These guys are a carnivore, but it's not just the flesh that they eat. They'll also eat the skin and the fur or feathers and the bones. Their jaws are so strong that they just bite through bone and crunch it up and swallow it and digest it. It's pretty impressive. Easy to recognise devil droppings because they've got little shards of bone all through it. Not very attractive. But basically they're capable of eating every single bone in the human body except for our skull, and that is only because they can't open their jaws wide enough to fit around it. But all the other bones in our body, they're capable of eating, and I'd rather you didn't bite me. You know my shoe, but not my leg. See, this is Luna. She's a little bit pushy sometimes if I don't give her food quickly enough. So I do always have to be very, very careful. Now the good thing about these guys is they're not actually a hunter. So if you're bushwalking in Tasmania, you don't have to worry about these guys tackling you and killing you. They're not like that. 1, because they are so shy, and 2, because they're an incredibly slow animal. The top speed that a devil runs at is similar to the top speed of a chicken. So they're very bad at hunting, plus they've got terrible eyesight. So instead, they are a scavenger. Oops, sorry, falling over there. That's really good, isn't it? Basically, they're a scavenger. They find food that's already dead by using their sense of smell, and they are capable of smelling food anywhere up to 2 kilometres away. So it's very, very powerful. Now, in the old days, we had the good old Tasmanian tiger, which was a predator and would kill all the animals and basically eat the best bits. Then these guys would scavenge the leftovers. Unfortunately, the Tasmanian tiger became extinct in 1936. So now these guys are really struggling out in the wild, mainly relying on roadkill. So they will be sitting in the road feeding on something that's been hit by a car, and they blend in very well with the road, unfortunately. So these guys often get hit by cars while they're feeding. On average, it's around 3,300 devils killed on our roads every single year in Tasmania. It is a pretty big number, but especially when you consider that devils are highly, highly endangered animals. Now the main reason they're so endangered is because of a disease called the devil facial tumour disease. As I mentioned before, Prince looks like he's got that, but he doesn't actually. He has just hit his head. So basically this disease causes big tumours to grow on the devil's faces, and it is actually contagious between devils. So we can't catch it, no other animal can catch it, but the devils can spread it between themselves. And it's spread through their blood and saliva, and unfortunately at this point no cure has been discovered. No one knows exactly what causes it. It only appeared in 1996, but since then it's actually wiped out about 85% of the wild population. So it's spreading very quickly. It means we can't release any of our devils into the wild because they will become sick, but there is a lot of research going on trying to find a cure for this disease. Now the devils are being very, very patient, so I'm going to give them a bit of a snack, but as I said, they are a carnivore. They do like everything to be quite natural. They do like everything to be fairly intact, shall we say. So I'm going to give them a little bit of chicken. Now it's not very pretty, but they are a carnivore. So I'm going to give them a little baby chicken as a bit of a treat. So if you're squeamish, you may want to turn away, but I'm going to take them for a bit of a walk all the way along the front so everyone sees them up close.
Oh, I'm not going to share.
So as you can see, they don't like to share. And the little screaming noise you heard them making, the screaming noise that they make is actually how they got the name devil. So basically the European settlers explored most of Australia, and they came to Tasmania thinking they were prepared for anything. They heard the devil screaming. They didn't know what made that noise, so they thought Tasmania was haunted by the devil. So the name sort of stuck with them. Now they're not going to leave any leftovers. They like to finish absolutely everything, bones, feathers and all. So they won't leave anything left behind. Now you are very patient, so you can have one of your own. So we'll go for another bit of a walk. So again, everyone sees you up close. This is a bit of chicken. It's like KFC, basically. Yeah, it's a bit of KFC. Oh, careful!
Don't forget.
There you go, good girl. It's always fun. While they're tearing around, I'm going to show you how well these guys can fly. Or not. There goes that plan. Never mind. I've got a little bit more for when the others come back. Now these guys are another marsupial, so they have that really short pregnancy as well and the very undeveloped babies. These guys are pregnant for even a shorter a period than the wombat. So these guys are only pregnant for around 18 to 21 days. Very, very lucky. And their babies are actually born about the size of a grain of rice, believe it or not. So as you can imagine, it's very, very difficult for such tiny babies to make it from the birth canal into the pouch. So to make sure that some do get there, the mother will actually give birth to between 20 and 40 of these tiny little babies all